sea calling.
I'm talking to the sea?
Is this for real?
Yeah.
When's
When's the last time you visited me?
A long time ago.
I work all the time.
Hustle and bustle, you can't stop.
Oh, you have to come and visit me soon.
Yeah!
I want to visit you. I miss you.
I miss you too. Okay, you have to close your eyes. Listen carefully. I want you to imagine that you're out in the middle of me. The traffic noise, not there. The gentle sound of me puts you at ease. Where people wait on you for a change. You can get a massage. You can go to amazing restaurants. Surfing. Oh, nice moves. Zipline high above me. Go out dancing. That's great.
Can I go now?
Sure.
And we'll talk when I get there?
Yes, we'll talk when you get there.
The ads we see, like this one, encourage us to see the Caribbean as a theme park and to discourage thoughts of even the existence of native peoples that are not part of a service to you, the traveler. Speaking to the destination as a place outside of the world that you can go to stop being responsible for anything other than your own happiness and disregarding even the existence of people that aren't there to be at your beck and call, even back in the 50s and before. In a study of 9 Caribbean countries that have a prevalent tourist economy, only half of the hotels were owned by residents of the country, and the major resorts are all owned by foreign corporations. In places where tourism brings in a large amount of the revenues, this leads to governments making decisions about resources and expenditures based on that tourist traffic, even going so far as to create policies that hope to create a more stable and long-lasting tourist trade by working with multinational capital. Jamaica Kincaid describes a tourist as an ugly thing. That is what you are when you become a tourist, a piece of rubbish, pausing here and there to gaze at this and taste that, and it will never occur to you that the people who inhabit the place in which you have just paused cannot stand you, that behind their closed doors they laugh at your strangeness. This idea that anyone who is foreign to a place that enters it for their own entertainment becomes a tourist, even if you may be an inhabitant of a place that others visit in such a way, creates a cycle that is hard to get away from. The you in a small place is everyone who came into places like Antigua and sought to remake it in their image with no regard for the people that were there in the first place. The idea of manifest destiny, of coming in with promises and unasked for assistance, bringing slaves from elsewhere, introducing civilization, again, unasked for and unnecessary, and then, after the oppressed and enslaved inhabitants of this land forcibly remove you from it, you walk away and deny your involvement and responsibility for taking the land and reshaping it into a place that bears no real resemblance to what it was before. And then you invade it again with neo-colonialistic and neoliberal appetites, confirming a stranglehold on places that never wanted you there to begin with. Antigua is too beautiful in a way that doesn't allow those that have never experienced anything else to recognize the value of what they have, in much the same way that there are diamonds on the beaches of Africa, and the results of people coming in to claim this value and beauty have created exploitation and cruelty. This beauty exists in a pure way, but seen and never truly appreciated by those that have never known anything but, and never protected in a way that such things must be in order to keep those that would exploit it away. Tourism in these places was never really a choice that was presented, so much as a wedge driven into the culture of these people that is created by a need of having a temporary boon in exchange for an eternal loss of agency by those that live there. The lack of other options, at present at least, means that the source of income that does exist seems the only way to proceed that allows any sort of standard of living for those that rely on it. Tourists are the new hated master that must be catered to in order to survive. When it provides such a large percentage of the income capital, it has to be protected, regardless of the costs. The importance of the library to the town and to the people is its ability to expand the knowledge of the people beyond that of the island and the ideas brought in by the tourists. The loss of the library is hard to deal with, tragic actually, because of the loss of that connection. In addition to the loss itself is the unfulfilled promise of restoration of the library by the public officials. It matters not to her that the library is full of ideas that had been placed there by those that would control and subvert the population. She sees the loss of the ability to see the outside of the island, and perhaps the loss of the agency to fill this place with other ideas that might allow the people to have a better or more accurate look at the wider world. If a small place with small events cannot give an account of itself, then it fails to be able to keep itself in a place in time. It fails to place itself into the stream of events on a greater scale, on a worldwide stage. Everything that was before becomes just in the past and is not of any real importance to today's world, either in the micro or the macro scale. Kincaid emphasizes the economic inequality in Antigua. There is squalor in the streets, the buildings are unkept, and the people who make their lives there are not well off by any real sense of the word. The government is corrupt, and the officials of that government are more concerned with themselves and the benefits that they can gain from any given situation than they are in making sure that the people are looked after. In short, the economic situation in Antigua at the time, and to a greater or lesser extent carrying forward, is bad. The personality and consciousness of the Caribbean people is different from that of the standard Western individualism because of the origin of the present-day cultures and societal structures of the region. Colonialism. In post-colonial world, there is something akin to a national or cultural level of Stockholm syndrome, where there is no cultural identity of self, only that which has been implanted by those that ruled and subjugated for so long. The individual is left with an image of self and culture that is reflective of having been placed at the bottom of every heap for all of recorded history. Jamaica Kincaid is angry at the British because they did not say please. They came in and took what they wanted and changed the very nature of the peoples and places that they colonized, and never once even pretended that there was a choice on the part of those that were on the receiving end. She said that, "I would have at least had to admit that you were polite." In 1939, there began a string of corrupt government officials in charge of Antigua. This string was following the examples of the individuals from England before them and operated in a similar fashion. This string set a precedent that continued until the time of A Small Place, where Jamaica Kincaid speaks of the officials that brazenly line their own pockets and aid their friends and business partners rather than see to the public good. Three important issues that an informed person should know about before traveling to the Caribbean are: 1, the economic and cultural impact of tourism on the populations of those places that are visited, both in terms of agency and of the local people and the governments, and in the diversion of incomes to multinational corporations that run their resorts. 2, the fact that economic states of many countries in the Caribbean are the result of the retribution taken on them after transitioning, in whatever form they were able to, from colonies to a post-colonial status. And 3, the knowledge and understanding that there are no less than 26 different countries within the Caribbean, and that each one has an individual culture and set of traditions. Some are shared, and there is a sense of unity on the whole throughout the region, but they are far more diverse than even the individual states of the Union are. The effects of colonialization, imperialism, and race on the identity, language, religion, and culture of the Caribbean cannot be overestimated. The very nature of these things have been defined in every way by the actions and impacts of having another culture and nation invade yours and try to remake yours into theirs. All of the languages spoken in the Caribbean are either directly from the invading countries or are bastardized versions of them to this day. The religions of the native peoples have been warped and twisted, and in some cases eradicated by those of the people that came in and used force to have their way. The very cultures of the people that lived in the region prior to the injection of Europeans is gone and will probably never be seen again. So thorough a job was done in forcing the acclimatization of indigenous peoples to the ways of their oppressors. There is no question that those nations which were colonized should be granted reparations from those countries that colonized them. The damages to people and environments, the cultures, identities, religions, and histories of those peoples is immeasurable. The economic wastelands of those places that have had to contend with a world stage after being made into production centers by invading nations must be addressed and dealt with in a fair and equitable manner. Providing an opportunity for equity moving forward should be the goal of everyone involved, and international pressure should be levied upon them to help pave the way.